Alright, first off, this is for my public speaking class, or communications class for college. And all of these things around me, like the mounted deer, these antlers and the antlers at my feet, this tree, and the camel that I'm wearing is all for the visual aids. To start off, hunting has been around for generations. It is part of various cultures. It's also against various cultures. Is hunting okay? That is a question that will never be answered. It all depends on your outlook of the subject. Should we control the animals and their populations? I say yes, and let me tell you why. First off, hunting is good for the environment. It helps maintain the landscape. So say there's too much vegetation, too much trees in an area, it's going to cause a fire. Just like that, the Brian had a fire down by Panguitch. It burned up more than half the mountain, or at least half the mountain, and killed who knows how many animals. Hunting all helps conserve the animal species. It helps maintain an ecological balance. So say there's too many predators in an area, it's going to cause a crash in the prey species, and then eventually cause a crash in the predator species. And that'll all cause that fire, because there's going to be nothing to feed off of that vegetation, and it'll cause the fire. And at times, controlling predator population is a surefire way to increase survival of a prey species. That's a quote by Rob Nelson. By predator control and prey control, it helps keep a balance. So say there's the right amount of predators, there's the right amount of prey in this area, they're not going to rise or crash. I mean, the prey population will crash because there's going to be too many predators. And that's why we hunt them. That's why we hunt both of them, so there's not too many of each. And it helps maintain the landscape and the feed of the animals. Just like I explained before, there are just the right amount of both. There's going to be just the right amount of vegetation, and it's not going to cause a fire. Hunting also helps maintain a healthy species with less disease. So, good genetics on a deer is a mule deer, a 4-point buck. That's perfect genetics, and that's what you want. Bad genetics is a 3-point on one side. And just like this is a good 4-point buck. Like, it may not be big, but that's really good genetics, and that has no disease, and it's a healthy buck. But for, say, this 3-point horn, it may look big, but that is not good genetics. That's not what you want. And there's additional benefits to hunting. It helps fund and maintain the habitat. So they sell a certain number of tags each year. A certain percentage of those sales and the percentage of the money goes into conservation. Hunting does two main things for conservation. One, it acts as a funding source for state agencies that help conserve habitat. While this money could come from somewhere else, the reality is that in North America, much of it comes from hunting. That's a quote by Dave Kramer. Hunting wild game is a good food source for human consumption. It's the most healthy meat you can get. There's no chemicals, no preservatives, nothing added to the meat. The animals eat healthy organic food. They only eat what they know is good for them and know what will help them survive. In that case, that's going to help you survive because it's natural for a human to eat something that they've killed. The meat is very fresh because you're killing it right then. You don't know how long that meat that's at a store has been sitting there. You don't know what preservatives are in it to make it stay. It also helps a person save money. So say you buy a $50 tag, is what it costs here in Utah. Think of how long that'll feed you, how many pounds of meat you can get from that animal, and think of how much that would cost you if you were to go buy it at a store, how much money that would cost. You'd probably save hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars a year. Animal food sources from the store, they contain hormones, steroids, and preservatives, all of which are not natural, all of which that can kill a human if you have too much of it. So why would you go out and eat all that stuff when you could just go kill something and then get food from it and not get any harm to you? In conclusion, although there are arguments for eliminating hunting, I have pointed out why it is a benefit to humanity and to the animal species. I am not saying that hunting should not be managed and regulated, which it most definitely should. But without hunting, the ecological environmental balance would crash. The key is management. Therefore, hunting is not wrong.